explore the driving factors boosting market shares of Korean car makers in the US and Europe, and the next step the Korean auto industry should take. We will visit a developer of service robots that help us with our everyday tasks, which include a robot vacuum cleaner. We will discuss with Deputy Trade Minister Choi Kyung-lim of the Ministry of Trade, Industry and Energy about Korea's strategies for successful talks on an FTA among Korea, China and Japan. We will hear from defectors about the illegal activities North Korea has been engaging in to transfer the bulk of cash from overseas.
Hello, I'm Andrew Salmon and welcome to Bizline. We're coming to you from the Trade Tower in the COEX Center in Gangnam in southern Seoul. And trade is very much on our agenda today. What's happening is this. Currently, the big three economies in Northeast Asia, China, South Korea and Japan, are sitting down and discussing a very, very big project, a Godzilla of an idea, and that is this, the creation of a trilateral free trade bloc in Northeast Asia. The fruits of such a deal are tantalizing. Were this to come to fruition, it would rival North America's NAFTA and Europe's EU as the world's largest zone of economic activity. Later in the program, we'll be speaking to the chief South Korean negotiator and asking him when, and indeed if, such a major deal can be done. But before that, let's take a look at a roundup of the latest business and economic news from here in South Korea.
Korea's smartphone market has expanded fast over the last few years, but growth is set to slow this year. According to a new report from US market research firm Strategy Analytics, the local smartphone market will grow a mere 8% this year to 33 million units. It added that by 2016, the market may even contract because of market saturation. This is a significant slowdown from the growth rate of 75% logged in 2012. Analysts say the slowing pace is natural in a country with a population of only 50 million. Some say the smartphone market has already entered the saturation stage, but has been temporarily boosted by demand for 4G LTE phones. This year marks the second year of the Korea-US Free Trade Agreement, and US agricultural exports to Korea are expected to more than double from last year. The US Department of Agriculture projects agro exports will reach $6.3 billion this year. In 2012, the figure was $2.8 billion, an all-time high. Orange exports posted a 43% surge, thanks to the tariffs coming down 30% because of the trade pact. The USDA adds shipments of fruit juices and nuts all saw brisk growth and predicted robust exports will continue this year. The Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development says the world's economy is slowly recovering from a late 2012 slowdown. The US and Japan have been leading the rebound of the world's economy so far this year. When the final numbers come in, it's expected that the US and Japan will have grown more than 3% in the first quarter. And although growth in both countries is expected to drop to the 2% range in the second quarter, economists are encouraged by the numbers. The OECD advised the European Central Bank to allow more room to lower interest rates, like the US Federal Reserve has done, and encourage banks to lend. As a whole, the cumulative growth of the G7 economies is expected to grow at 2.4% in the first quarter and 1.8% in the second. Cars of all shapes, sizes and price tags will be on display at this year's Seoul Motor Show. A staggering 331 companies from 13 countries are in town to unveil their hottest and flashiest rides. Under this year's theme of With Nature for the People, organizers have attempted to balance out the gas guzzlers with some greener models. Environmentally friendly vehicles, such as electric and hybrid cars, are seen as the next big thing in the auto industry, and most automakers are jumping on the bandwagon. The 2013 Seoul Motor Show runs through this Sunday, April 7th at Kintex. Samsung Electronics spent nearly $11 billion on research and development last year, despite the global economic downturn. That's 15% more than the amount the company spent on R&D the year before. The Korean tech giant has been ratcheting up its investment in R&D. And according to a report issued by the company Tuesday, it acquired over 18,000 patents in and out of Korea in 2012 alone. It currently holds around 100,000 patents, most of which are related to memory chips and semiconductors. 19 million people are currently without work in the Eurozone. The bloc's statistics agency Eurostat says the unemployment rate in the 17 EU countries that use the euro hit 12% for the first time since the currency was launched in 1999. It says the number of people unemployed rose by 30,000 during February to hit 19.07 million. According to the Ministry of Trade, Industry and Energy, Korea recorded roughly $47 billion in exports in March, which is a 0.4% jump from the previous month. Imports shrank by 2%, which means Korea's trade balance has been in the black every month since February 2012. IT-related exports, such as semiconductors, wireless devices and displays, all performed well in March. But car exports experienced a slight hiccup due to a slowdown in production after Hyundai Motor's labor union failed to strike a deal with management.
Let's move on to a major and fast-moving sector of the Korean economy. I'm talking about autos. Now, 30 years ago, when South Korea exported its very first car to the United States, it was so badly made, it actually became the butt of jokes on late-night US talk shows. That is no longer the case. In both Western Europe and North America, young buyers are now increasingly turning to South Korean brands over the once aspirational Japanese brands. So clearly, South Korea's automotive sector is surging ahead of the competition. What's behind this ever sharper competitive edge? Let's take a look.
The crowd of 1.2 million people at Kintex in Goyang, northwest of Seoul. 15,000 buyers from overseas. The biggest automakers gathered at one place to show off their latest model cars, not only for their speed, but more for their chic design.
It's a great event, absolutely great event. We are surprised. It's the first time that we are on the Seoul Motor Show, and for sure we will come back the next year.
This is the Seoul Motor Show 2013. Hyundai Kia Automotive Group had the most number of automobiles on display at the Seoul Motor Show, where spectators showed keen interest. Bizline was at the International Motor Show to take a closer look at the foundation that led the success of the Korean auto industry.
외국 기자분들이나 그리고 해외 바이어들이 상당히 많이 찾았습니다. 그분들이 한결같이 서울 모터쇼를 보고 느끼는 게 깜짝 놀랐다. 그리고 이거는 아무래도 현대기아차의 약진적인 발전에 기인한 거 아니냐. 한국 자동차 산업이 그만큼 세계 5대 생산국답게 위상이 그만큼 높지 않았나 이렇게 생각을 합니다.
Last year, 4.5 million vehicles were produced in Korea. Of those, 1.4 million automobiles were sold here in the country, where imported cars take 10% of the domestic sales. And 4.7 million units, which is more than double the figure sold on the domestic front, were exported, amounting to $47 billion. If exports of car parts is included, the amount soars beyond 72 billion. Now auto exports take 14% of Korea's total exports, which shows how important the automobile industry is on the Korean economy. Surprisingly, it didn't take a significantly long period of time for Korea to see its auto industry grow to take such a strong foothold on the export front.
우리 자동차 산업은 1976년에 베네수엘라의 자동차를 약 6대 수출함으로써 이 수출이 시작됐다고 봅니다. 지속적으로 80년대에 들어와서는 고유 모델을 바탕으로 해서 미국 시장에 진출했고요. 이것이 결국 80년대 하반기에 수출 증가로 이어졌습니다. 그렇지만 90년대에 들어와서 약간 수출이 둔화되는 모습을 보였고 또 90년대 말에는 IMF 위기로 우리 국내 완성차 업계에 커다란 위기가 찾아왔었습니다.
Prior to 1995, Domestic consumption was the key in Korea's auto industry as it was an incubation stage, preparing for a strong growth. By experiencing the 1997-98 Asian financial crisis, Korean automakers turned to exports to cope with the slump in domestic sales.
우리나라가 90년대 말에 IMF 관리 체제를 겪으면서 이 자동차 산업에 있어서 대대적인 구조조정이 있었습니다. 완성차 업체 3개가 해외 자본에 매각이 됐고 또 부품 업체 약 200개 이상이 해외 자본에 매각이 됐습니다. 그렇지만 이러한 구조조정이 어떻게 보면 우리나라 자동차 산업에는 또 긍정적인 영향을 미쳤다고 봅니다. 상당히 이 효율성을 높였고 또한 해외 시장 진출에도 이러한 외국계 업체들이 일부 지원을 하면서 우리 자동차 산업의 수출 증대에 기여했다고 봅니다.
In fact, since 1997, domestic sales growth trend didn't change much, while exports rose sharply. Korean automakers are now enjoying their strong presence in the global market. Alongside exports of fully built vehicles, overseas sales of car parts surged as well. In 2012, exports of automobile components totaled $24 billion, and Korean-made parts are even used in vehicles produced by Mercedes and BMW from Germany and Japan's Toyota and Honda. Such competitive edge in auto parts led to competitiveness for fully built vehicles.
해외 업체들이 한국 부품에 대한 관심이 굉장히 많습니다. 그래서 저희 회사 같은 경우에도 상당한 인파이를 받고 있고 실제로 지금 거의 모든 해외 완성차 메이커랑 입찰을 진행 중에 있고 앞으로도 크게 확대될 예정입니다.
최근에 우리나라 자동차 산업의 수출이 증가하고 있는 이유는 이 품질, 성능 그리고 디자인의 경쟁력이 향상되었기 때문입니다. 여기에 환율도 우리나라의 수출 증가에 긍정적으로 움직였고 또한 기술력이 대폭 강화되었기 때문입니다.
With the improvement of its quality and technology, the image of Korean automobiles have evolved from economically cheap to high-quality, practical vehicles.
In former times, the Korean cars the quality was not that high, and also the design was not suitable to the German market. But in the recent time, the design has developed a lot. It looks very modern and futuristic, and that's what the Germans like.
It's a very good car. In Europe, we think Japanese and Korean cars are one of the best in the world, and a lot of, especially families, buy Korean cars.
Korean automakers are not only working to improve their technology, but also in design and marketing, all aspects in sales strategy.
Signals our ability to be successful in a competition with the European luxury brands.
In the case of Kia Motors, the company recruited Peter Schreier, now its chief design officer, from Volkswagen, where he designed the Audi brand and succeeded in design innovation. As for Kia Ceed, it was selected Car of the Year by Britain's What Diesel Car magazine for its practicality as well as quality for its price tag. Of course, its innovative design was the main feature in getting the award.
일례로 중국에서는 우리나라의 아반떼를 약간 개조해서 위에둥이라는 모델로 판매를 하고 있고 또한 유럽에서는 i 시리즈라는 소형 승용차를 개발해서 판매를 하고 있습니다. 이러한 현지인의 취향에 맞는 소형차의 개발과 모델의 개발은 판매 증가세를 더욱 가속화시키고 있습니다.
Kia also built a local production plant to manufacture automobiles to meet the local consumers' taste, which helped in export growth. Furthermore, marketing strategies, such as extending warranty periods and offering tempting auto financing terms, helped to attract buyers in the overseas market.
Kia Sorento and the Sportage, very attractive cars, very good warranty, much better warranty than many of the other US or Japanese manufacturers. 100,000-mile warranty as opposed to 3 years or 36 is a good reason to look towards Korean cars.
According to the Washington Post, young buyers have turned to Korean brands recently. In 2008, Korean brands accounted for 5% of sales to young auto shoppers in the US, but that figure had doubled to around 10% last year.
이들은 어떻게 보면 차세대 구매자라고도 볼 수 있습니다. 따라서 젊은 층에서 한국차에 대한 선호도가 높아지기 때문에 장기적으로 볼 적에도 우리의 자동차 수출 그리고 해외에서의 생산 판매는 지속적으로 증가할 것으로 봅니다.
Recently, Hyundai and Kia announced that they are recalling their vehicles, which is the largest of its kind in the US. The recall is to correct electrical malfunctions, such as faulty brake lamps. The recall could hurt their image, but they have acted swiftly to honor their mistakes. Showing full responsibility and being on top of managing quality and safety issues are moves to gain consumer trust and heighten brand image. But Korea's auto industry still needs to work on other aspects to continue its strong growth.
국내 완성차 업계의 브랜드 평가는 세계 7위에 머물고 있습니다. 따라서 이 브랜드 파워를 강화해야 됩니다. 특히 이러한 브랜드 파워를 강화해야만 상대적으로 좀 부진한 고급차 시장에 안정적으로 진입을 할 수가 있고 또 수익 증대에 기여할 수 있기 때문입니다.
This year's Seoul Motor Show has a theme of With Nature for the People, which shows that the future of automobile trends is no longer the engine, but on energy conservation. Hydrogen vehicles introduced by Hyundai Motors have already set a precedence in the future auto market. A car that doesn't need petroleum to run, it's the future of green cars.
수소 연료 전지차는 저희 현대자동차의 신기술에 대한 집념을 보여줄 수 있는 모델이라고 하겠습니다. 저희들이 투산 연료 전지차를 지금 이미 양산화하고 있으며 네덜란드에 지금 수출을 하고 있습니다. 2015년까지 약 1000대를 판매할 예정이고 저희들이 다른 자동차 업계들이 지금 양산하지 못하는 모델을 자동차 업계에서 최초로 지금 생산해서 판매를 하고 있습니다.
Hyundai came out with the hydrolyzed car, and I'm actually very happy about that because the technology, I thought it will not come out so early, but they managed to do it, so I'm looking forward to see how it actually develops from here.
Korea car makers entered the global auto market, which seemed difficult to penetrate, and succeeded in becoming one of the top 5 auto-producing nations. Consumers are turning to protecting the environment rather than horsepower, and Korean companies will need to make necessary adjustments to meet the changing demand. Then Korean car makers can become the leader in the coming environmentally friendly auto market.
The story of household appliances is the story of technology coming to the rescue of harassed housekeepers. However, this technology is still far from perfected. What could be the next step? Could it be full automation? Actually, yes. In our Hidden Champion segment, we're going to meet a company which is producing robots that will free mum and dad from such onerous chores as tutoring the kids and even vacuuming the house. Let's meet Yujin Robot.
Robots with artificial intelligence have emerged as a product that represents the latest technology. Soon, smart robots will take care of our household chores. The intelligent robots will improve people's lives. It is also expected to act as helper around the house, providing more time to relax. The intelligent robots resemble humans on the outside, programmed to do the job repeatedly on its own. It's created to do the hard and dangerous tasks instead of humans. Thanks to the latest technology, these robots are being used at industrial complexes, research labs, and hospitals. The smart robot has now entered our household, engaging in house chores like cleaning and babysitting. Within the entire robot industry, personal service robots, especially the cleaning robots, are extremely popular, taking up 71% of the production amount. Robot cleaners first appeared in the domestic market about a decade ago. It has kept a steady growth rate, increasing in sales every year. We visited a store where customers showed great enthusiasm for the smart robot that does the cleaning for them. The cleaning robot is an emerging hot item, reflecting the recent trend in home appliances. Customers who get the chance to experience the functions of the cleaning robot become more attracted to the item, which increases their urge to buy the product.
네, 요새 이제 제 주변 분들 보면은 로봇 청소기 많이 사용하고 계시더라고요. 그래서 저도 또 맞벌이도 하고 또 청소에 대한 부담감 때문에 로봇 청소기를 좀 알아보고 있는 중이었거든요. 그래서 매장에 온 김에 좀 둘러보고 있었어요.
The production amount of cleaning robots jumped 50% during the year between 2010 and 2011. Figures for the year 2012 are estimated to reach over $200 million. Leading domestic cleaning robot maker Yujin Robot specializes in the manufacturing of service robots. CEO Shin Kyung-chol is a robot expert with 25 years of experience in the field. His most recent project involves the development of service robots with artificial intelligence.
로봇 청소기는 가장 사람들이 쉽게 도전했다가 사업을 문 닫은 그런 어떻게 보면은 그 로봇의 무덤이라고 말을 할까 그렇게 생각이 됩니다. 그러다가 2000년대에 들어와서 한 200만 원대의 그 청소 로봇들이 나왔습니다. 그래서 간단한 기능을 가지고 있는 200만 원이면 로봇 중에서는 아주 싼 로봇이지만은 가정에서 쓰기에는 그래도 상당히 비싼 로봇이었죠.
The company Yujin Robot had big ambitions and the technological know-how to make the intelligent cleaning robots. But the real challenge was in creating a robot that would fit customer needs with the right design at a reasonable price.
우리가 시험 때에는 다 패스했던 저가의 부품들이 양산을 하니까는 우리가 실험 때에 만들었던 그 성능이 안 나오더라고요. 그래서 거기에서 우리가 굉장히 많은 그 어려움을 겪었습니다.
After incorporating the right software, the company had to make adjustments in the price tag for its cleaning robots.
그래서 그다음부터는 부품의 신뢰성 확보, 그다음에 제품의 일관성 확보, 그리고 또한 이것이 소비자가 정말로 사용하는 데 불편함이 없는가, 또 가정의 환경에 적합하게 맞췄는가.
Yujin Robot has incorporated two key technologies in the manufacturing of their cleaning robots. One is the navigation mapping technology, which uses camera photography, and the other has various cleaning functions based on the shape of the space.
업계 최초로는 문턱 모드라고 문턱 기능이 강화되어 있어서 최대 2cm까지 문턱을 넘나들었고요. 하단에서 양쪽에 사이드 브러쉬가 먼지를 모아줌으로써 가운데에서 롤 브러쉬로 흡입해가지고 청소하는 방식입니다.
The cleaning robot has many functions, like exceptional suction ability and a range of functions like sensors that help the robot avoid falls. The cleaning robot's suction power was tested, and it showed that the robot was able to clean up small rice grains scattered on the floor. Tests showed that Yujin Robot's iCLEBO eliminated up to 99% of household dust, exceptionally better than similar products made by other companies when it came to suction power. Yujin Robot has been ranked first place for its functions by the German media, while receiving several patents at home and abroad. The cleaning robot is the only recipient of the ROHS certificate. Such credentials have helped in boosting sales for Yujin Robot at home, while it also led to export opportunities to some 30 countries.
지금 유럽에서는 저희가 계속적으로 청소 성능이 가장 뛰어난 그 제품으로 저희 iCLEBO가 계속 상을 받고 있습니다. 그래서 이거는 전 세계의 로봇 중에서 가장 뛰어난 청소 성능을 가지고 있다, 이렇게 평가하시면 될 것 같고요.
This is a common sight. From one room to the next, housewives deal with the inconvenience of having to pull around a noisy vacuum cleaner around the house.
일반 청소기는 무겁고 시간도 오래 걸리고 또 허리도 아프고 또 구부려야 되니까 힘든 것 같아요.
Thanks to the quiet cleaning robot, which keeps the house clean with a push of a button, users have found a solution to their household chores. It cleans and recharges automatically, which is great news for housewives who have been yearning for more leisure time.
자연적으로 자기가 알아서 움직여주니까 편하고 또 틀어놓고 아이하고 재밌게 놀 수도 있어서 시간적인 여유가 있어서 좋은 것 같아요.
Newlywed Cho Mi-ri, who works full-time, can only clean the house on the weekends. But after she purchased the cleaning robot, her life changed for the better.
요즘같이 봄철 황사나 그리고 미세먼지가 많은 아파트인 경우에 로봇 청소기 쓰면 참 편리하고 좋은 것 같아요.
The ripple effects will be enormous if an advanced robot based on human thoughts is created. The advancement will create a reality beyond our imagination, as robotic functions improve from execution of simple tasks to perceive human desire and psychology. This doesn't seem all too impossible, since cleaning robots were also considered to be futuristic reality.
로봇을 개발하는 것도 중요하지만 그것보다 더 중요한 거는 그 안에 들어가는 핵심적인 기술들을 개발하는 것이 더 중요합니다. 그래서 우리가 흔히 말하는 로봇 원천 기술, 아까 말씀드린 휴먼 로봇 인터랙션 같은 HR의 기술이나 아니면은 이동하는 데 필요한 기술, 로봇이 작업을 하는 데 필요한 기술, 그리고 로봇이 어떤 사물을 보고선 어떤 행동을 할 것인가 하는 판단하는 데 필요한 지능 기술 같은 원천 기술을 개발하는 데 좀 집중할 생각이고요.
A robot made for and by humans. Fascinating events from science fiction movies are becoming a part of our everyday life. What seemed like far-fetched future is gradually becoming a reality. We expect to see limitless progress in robot technology.
Hello, welcome to our interview segment. And today, the man in the hot seat is Chae Kyung-lim, South Korea's Deputy Minister for Trade, Industry and Energy, and the man who's responsible for South Korea's trade policy and trade negotiations. Minister, thank you very much for joining us here on Bizline.
You're welcome, my pleasure.
Okay, now this is a good time to speak to you because of course last week we had the first round of the Trilateral negotiations between Seoul, Beijing and Tokyo on a possible free trade zone in Northeast Asia. Very briefly, what was the outcome of that initial meeting?
It was the first round of our negotiations, so we did not exactly go into the details of trade liberalization. Instead, we focused on the discussion of the general objective of our negotiations, as well as some organizational issues.
What is that objective?
I think all three countries confirmed that they are aiming for a high quality FTA, in the sense that we will have a broad range of market liberalization, as well as we are going to establish some advanced rules for trade and investment among the three countries.
Okay, now let me ask you this. North America has NAFTA, Europe has the EU, even Southeast Asia has ASEAN. Why has it taken so long for Tokyo, Beijing and Seoul to get their act together and start having these negotiations?
I think I can give you basically two reasons. First of all, to have a free trade area, you need to have a similar economic structure. But among the three countries of Korea, Japan and China, the economic and trade structure are quite different from each other. So it was one element that prevented us from reaching an agreement to start negotiations. The second element is non-economic elements, like we have a historical legacy as well as a political rivalry. That made us difficult
to come to an agreement on the discussion of broad free trade area among the three countries.
Understood. But Minister, let me ask you this then. Looking forward, as you move on to the next rounds of negotiations, what do you see as the key obstacles, both in terms of trade policy, but also perhaps broader political issues?
I think the two elements will pose about the same amount of challenge for us. But happily, we confirmed at the meeting last week that all three countries are in agreement that we need to have this FTA so that we can increase our economic growth, increase our economic welfare for the people, and also to help the region grow as an economic area as a whole.
So, are you pretty sure this deal will be done? And if your answer is yes, can you give us a ballpark? When might we see this actually come into being? Are we talking years or decades?
We do not have any set deadline. Generally, it takes about 2 or 3 years to complete free trade negotiations of this scale. We are in agreement that we need to work very hard so that we can finish these negotiations in due time so that our business people as well as our people can enjoy the benefit of the new trade area.
Understood. Now, of course, South Korea already has FTAs with both the EU and with the United States. Can you use these models as a kind of benchmark to move the Northeast Asian Free Trade Agreement forward?
Well, there are areas that where we can use our previous free trade agreements as a reference or a benchmark. But there are also areas where we need to develop a new model because obviously China has a different economic structure as well as a different political system. So it's going to be difficult for us to transplant the models that we had with the United States and the European Union to a trade agreement with China. And to a lesser degree, we also have a similar problem with Japan.
Assuming this deal is done, what do you see as being the main benefits? Perhaps you could give us some numbers for the South Korean economy.
Well, one of our economic research institute estimated that if we have this FTA, it will increase our GDP in 10 years by about 1.5%. But I think this estimate is quite conservative in the sense that it calculated only the effect of tariff reduction of goods. But we are going to have a trade liberalization in the areas of services as well. And also we are going to liberalize and upgrade our investment regime. And in other areas of trade and investment, we are going to develop common rules. So all in all, the economic benefits might be far larger than the number I gave you.
Okay, well, let's hope so. Moving on, South Korea, what do you see will be the big winning sectors for the South Korean economy if, again, this does come into being?
Well, depending upon the outcome of the negotiations, all our industrial sectors may have benefits. For example, vis-a-vis China, we have a competitive edge in the area of manufactured products. And vis-a-vis Japan, we have competitiveness in our agricultural and fishery sector.
Is there a concern that obviously agriculture and fisheries are very problematic in these kind of areas? They're emotive, they have a political voice. Is there a fear that South Korea's agricultural and fisheries sectors could be swamped by Chinese imports if this goes ahead?
We are going to try our best so that it does not happen. And one of the priorities of Korea in these negotiations is to provide a mechanism under which we can safeguard the interests of our farmers and fishermen.
What is the schedule for negotiations going forward in the next weeks, months and years?
Well, the understanding among the three countries is to have 3 rounds of negotiations every year. So this year we are going to have 2 more rounds of negotiations, one in China and one in Japan.
Seriously speaking, this is a very, very big project and there's going to be some very tough issues to come. How strong is the political will in the 3 capitals to create this very big, very powerful economic bloc?
I'm very confident that our leaders as well as our people have very strong will to complete the negotiations successfully. I think the very fact that the negotiations were launched in the midst of current political difficulties among the 3 countries proves the point.
Thank you. I know you're a very, very busy man. You must dash off to another meeting. Minister, is there anything else you'd like to say on this issue before we finish?
Well, I think these free trade negotiations among the 3 countries of Korea, Japan, and China should be looked upon not only from the perspective of economic gains, but also from the perspective of political and cultural points. We hope that these free trade negotiations can lay the basis not only for strengthening our economic relationship, but also expanding and strengthening our political and cultural relationship so that our 3 countries can build a Northeast Asia community in the future.
Will they be completed during your tenure?
I hope so.
Okay, Minister. That sounds like a very worthwhile cause, particularly if this would help overcome some of the traumatic, historic and political issues in the region. Minister, thank you very much for joining us on Bizline. It's been a pleasure speaking to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Let's turn our eyes north. It's no secret that Pyongyang has been defying international sanctions by carrying out a wide range of illicit activities across the globe. What are the scale of these clandestine financial transactions? Where do they take place? And perhaps most importantly, will China actually change its stance towards its ally of 6 decades and apply UN sanctions? These are the questions we try to answer in our North Korean segment.
In Pyongyang, a major power transition is taking place. In Berlin, a weapons deal involving a North Korean spy, a Russian broker, and a Middle Eastern terrorist goes wrong. North Korea dispatches a young notorious agent to its consulate in Germany to investigate the failed arms sale and potentially conflicting loyalties. And as a South Korean intelligence chief pursues the spy who is now on the run, he finds himself embroiled in a vast international conspiracy surrounding North Korea's weapons trade and late Kim Jong-il's secret fund of $4 billion. Sounds unreal?
북한에서는 외화 보리를 하면 혁명 자금으로 김정일에게 다 바칩니다. 대부분 현찰로 바치죠. 그게 1년에 뭐 시기별로 좀 다르겠지만 몇억 불 정도 될 겁니다. 뭐 때로는 3억 불, 2억 불, 뭐 잘 벌 때는 한 4억, 5억 불. 그 자금 원천은 여러 가지겠죠. 가장 큰 몫은 역시 뭐 미사일 판매나 무기 거래와 관련된 그런 거래들이 돈 액수가 가장 많겠죠.
Kim Kwang-jin's testimony is not much different from what the South's intelligent agent in the movie learns while in pursuit of the North Korean spy. In fact, weapons trade is one of the biggest foreign currency generators for the North Korean regime. The communist leader needs a continuous influx of foreign currency in order to buy the loyalty of high-ranking officials, develop nuclear weapons, and maintain control of the country. And it is Room 39, Kim Jong-un's secretive government organization, that directs all kinds of fundraising activities through business ventures, some legitimate and some not. Before coming to South Korea in 2003, Kim was the Singapore representative of a North Korean bank. He was hired not only to manage Kim Jong-il's secret funds, but to also raise hard cash through international insurance scams.
의무적으로 각 기관들, 기업소들이 국가보험에 들어야 하는데 그것을 원천으로 해서 우리는 해외에 재보험을 듭니다. 사고가 나면은 사고를 좀 부풀린다든지 또 사고가 없는 사고를 또 만들어낸다든지 우리 대보험 천국에서는 1년에 2천만 달러 이상을 해마다 벌었죠. 그래서 2월 16일에 김정일 생일 때 충성자금, 혁명자금으로 2천만 달러를 현금으로 이제 상납을 했었죠.
Production and trafficking of counterfeit pharmaceuticals, cigarettes, and especially illegal drugs are also highly profitable. The drug of choice these days? Ice, also known as crystal meth or methamphetamine.
평가에 의하면 굉장히 순도가 높답니다. 그래서 선호한대요, 마약 사용자들이. 그래서 아주 고가에 팔리고 있는 마약을 외교관들을 시켜서 수출하기도 합니다. 왜냐하면 외교 행랑은 안 뒤져보잖아요.
In addition to trafficking drugs, the North's consular staff is forced to launder counterfeit US dollar bills, the North's infamous supernotes.
암달러성한테 이제 슈퍼노트를 일부를 섞어서 바꾸고 그 받은 그 나라 돈을 은행에 예금하고 은행에서 정상적인 달러로 바꾸고 그러면 이제 세탁이 되는 거죠. 사면서 전체를 다 가짜 달러로 내지도 않아요. 그러니까 예를 들어서 1,000달러를 내야 되면 그 중에 슈퍼노트를 2장쯤 끼워 넣는다거나 이런 방식으로 해서 그러니까 굉장히 품이 많이 드는 거죠. 그걸 하는 게.
Supernotes are known to be very exquisitely made, using top-of-the-line high-tech machinery imported from Japan, paper from Hong Kong, and ink from France.
달러를 가짜로 이게 만드는 거는 뉴스도 아닌 거죠. 그러니까 아주 보편화돼 있었던 일인데 지금은 굉장히 정교한 상태에 그야말로 슈퍼 오브 슈퍼노트이기 때문에 가려내지 못하는 거다. 이런 얘기도 있어서 확인은 할 수 없습니다.
Besides these illegal activities, North Korea also rakes in a chunk of income from what appears to be legitimate trade, such as sales of agricultural and fisheries products or minerals and its laborers working abroad.
외화벌이라는 게 말하자면 무역이잖아요. 근데 그 무역이라는 거를 곧 불법으로 연결시키는 건 굉장히 미안한 일이긴 한데 현실적으로 그 활동하는 내역을 들여다보면 공식과 비공식, 불법과 합법으로 딱 이렇게 나눠지지가 않는 거예요. 이유가 뭐냐면 굉장히 합법적인 경로를 통해서 공식적으로 활동을 하는데도 그중에 상당히 많은 부분이 불법적인 영역이 섞여 있으니까 어디까지 불법이라고 해야 하는지를 모르겠습니다.
Through these business ventures, be it legitimate or not, Kim Jong-un is believed to have stashed away as much as $5 billion. And the fund is all dispersed under other people's names, mostly in minor banks in European countries and China. A lesson learned from the Banco Delta Asia case, in which the United States froze his late father's some $25 million assets at the Macau Bank in 2005 and caused great vexation for the North's leadership. Recently imposed United Nations sanctions against Pyongyang are much tougher, calling for international cooperation to prohibit the Stalinist country's financial transactions.
China adopted UN Resolution 2094 in March 2013. China inspected North Korea vessels and certain North Korean banks such as Gwangseong Bank and Korea Bank in Dandong were closed in March 2013.
Chinese authorities have also launched random crackdowns against North Korean restaurants in Beijing and 3 provinces bordering the north to catch illegal residents and unauthorized imports and sales of North's liquor, drugs, and counterfeit products. Such a massive and systematic crackdown against its communist ally is an unprecedented move by China.
기본적으로 관계라는 게 그렇잖아요. 외교의 세계라는 것은 철저하게 국익이잖아요. 결국 중국의 북한에 대한 국익이 달라졌느냐. 결국 그 문제로 돌아갈 수밖에 없는 거죠. 그러니까 약간의 북한에 대한 메시지가 되든 국제사회가 메시지든 그리고 약간의 제스처 차원에서 좀 하는 신용이라고 해야 될까? 아니면 실질적으로 조금 정도는 할 수 있겠지만은 결정적으로 할 수 있을지는 의문부호를 되게 많이 답니다.
The harder the international economic sanction upon North Korea, the greater for North Korea regime's involvement in illegal activity to acquire foreign currencies.
Pyongyang has surely hiked up its levels of threats on Tuesday by announcing it will restart a nuclear reactor which had been shut down for more than 5 years. Now, what path will China follow? What path will the international community follow? And how will it affect the North's path to pursue foreign currency income to maintain its regime?
And that is all we have time for today on Bizline. I'm Andrew Salmon. Thank you for joining us, and we hope to see you next time, same place, same face. Thank you and goodbye.